So let's remove our feminist lens and let's take a look at the text from a Marxist standpoint. Hi class, this is Miss Miller. Thank you for joining me for another flipped video lecture. Today we're going to talk about Marxism as it relates to The Pearl by John Steinbeck. And so today you had a chance to work collaboratively with your peers on how the characters in The Pearl sort of addressed or referenced money in the text. This is a great starting point. And so today it's going to be a super brief lecture as I introduce this concept of Marxism, or you may refer to it as a Marxist approach to literature in this case. And so there's a gentleman by the name of Karl Marx, hence Marxism or Marxist, who, like a feminist, advocates for those a marginalized group of society, those who are sort of alienated or oppressed or taken advantage of. In this case, Marxism really looks at or is in favor of the poor or the oppressed. So Karl Marx, or Marxist theory, really is rooting for Juana, the beggars, Kino, the villagers, and he's not so much on the side of the doctor or the priest in the text. So he felt that there should be a power shift. So what happens is that there are those who own the means of production, like the doctor and the priest, and then there are those who sort of operate the means of production. They're the ones who are the workers. And so Karl Marx felt like there should be a shift. The power should be given to those who operated the means of production. So in other words, the people that should sort of dictate how society is run, or the power, should be given to Kino and Juana, the villagers, the beggars. And so when we look at literature, we sort of look to see how does the text address those who are oppressed, and particularly the economics point of view. So Karl Marx felt that literature was really a reflection of the culture. And so if you read close enough, you could see what was happening at that time in society based on how they treated the poor, or how the wealthy were treated. So whoever owned the means of production sort of dictated how politics was run, the government, the education, art, and media. And so essentially Karl Marx, according to him, this is a capitalist society. He feels that there are two types of classes. There is what's called the bourgeoisie, and of course, hence we hear the word or reference to she's bougie, right? And that, of course, would be the wealthy people, like the doctor, who we saw had a little bit of an attitude when Juana and Kino approached him to sort of help their baby Coyotito. And then we have what's called the proletariat. And the proletariats are the ones who are the poor. They're the oppressed. And so they are, for example, in the text, the Kinos and the Juanas and the villagers and the beggars. So Karl Marx sort of believed this idea of this political subconscious, which means that we have a natural pecking order. Inherently, when we form groups as individuals, there's always those who are perceived as the most intelligent, or the wealthy, or whatever it is, the ones who are better. And then there are those who are not so great. And so we do this automatically within our groups, and whether it's true or not, this is his argument, this is his theory. But he believes that we automatically have this political subconscious where we just form groups and we look to one person to tell us what to do, and we follow that. So even in the text, we see this political subconscious that Karl Marx referred to, and that would be this natural pecking order. For example, the list of characters that I shared with you today, if we got them all together in one setting, we would recognize this pecking order. And we know that the beggars would be at the very, very bottom. And then we would see our villagers. And then we have Kino and Juana, actually, and even Juan Thomas, because now or at least Kino possesses the pearl. So now he moves up in this pecking order, and everyone sort of rallies around him. And then we would probably see next in the pecking order would be the priest, and at the very top of this pecking order, for this society at least, would be the doctor, and he sort of dictates a lot, especially in this text. So Karl Marx also believed that the current system, the capitalist system, was flawed. There was a problem. And when we look at the visual tomorrow, you'll begin to see some of those issues that he recognized as well. But as it relates to the text, he believed that we as individuals, in many cases the proletariat, oftentimes want things and desire things, not because we need them, but because we want to improve our social position. And so in the text, you see reference to Kino, oftentimes sort of looking into the pearl and dreaming about what he wants. He wants an education for Coyotito. He wants a skirt for his wife. He pictures her in a skirt. They're going to be married in the church. He's wearing a suit. Coyotito's wearing a suit. I mean, he has all these visions. And according to a Marxist perspective, this is exactly what the bourgeoisie want. That's how they keep us oppressed, is the more we want and desire these things that we don't need. Because remember, what they originally needed was to pay for a cure for Coyotito. And somehow that goal was derailed throughout the text. He just kept focusing on other things. And we rarely heard about the interest in terms of really healing the child. Now it was about all of these other things. We always want the newer version or the better version, or we want something more, and that's what keeps us oppressed, according to Karl Marx's theory. And so this desire it's considered to be termed commodification, where you want something and you don't need it. And the only thing they really needed was to heal Coyotito, but with the pearl, now that he possessed it, he wanted and dreamed for so many different things. And that was the problem with the text and what drove Kino